Hey guys, and welcome to a new episode of the Know Your Formula on Track series. This week is the Canadian Grand Prix and we're heading to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. It is situated on the man-made island of Notre Dame and offers incredible views and a unique setting for this temporary street circuit. The first Formula One race at this venue was in 1978 and was won by the Canadian driver Gilles Villeneuve. The track was renamed in his honor in 1982 after it passed during the Belgium Grand Prix the same year. This track is 4.36 kilometers long, has 13 corners and 2 DRS zones. It is a mix of long straight, tight chicane and challenging hairpins. It requires low to medium downforce in order to optimize speed on the straight line, but also a great balance in the aerodynamics in order to maintain grip and stability throughout the heavy braking areas. The most significant passing area of the track is the famous hairpin called l'épingle, as drivers can brake late and multiple racing lines are possible. The entry to turn 1, known as Senna's S, is also a popular overtaking area at the end of the start-finish straight. The track was updated multiple times prior to the 2000s in order to improve safety, but overall, the track layout hasn't changed much in the past few years. The most significant change was the removal of one of the chicane after the casino, which made the track faster. By the way, I will be making these videos for every single race on the calendar this year, so if you don't want to miss any, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell button. But for now, let me jump into the sim and show you what a fast lap around Montreal looks like. The lap begins with DRS open as drivers approach the first decent passing opportunity, turn 1, carrying a lot of speed through the entry before slowing the car down fast and rotating out of virage Senna. The first of 3 chicanes, which makes up turn 3, 4 and 5, is fast, and the exit wall on the right has been the culprit of many close calls and race-ending crashes. DRS is available on this next straight, but it's too short to call it a passing zone. Get the car as left as possible to open up the entry for the next chicane, taking as much curb as the suspension can tolerate. Another wall on the exit will punish any mistakes. A good exit from here can open up a possible overtake into the turn 10 hairpin, the track's slowest corner. It's more than crucial to get on the throttle as early as possible on exit, as it sets up the best chance for an overtake before the entry to the final chicane, especially with DRS being available here and lasting all the way until turn 1. Cars will reach speeds of around 340 km per hour before getting on the brakes to prepare turn 13. Precision over this chicane is essential, as is avoiding the World of Champions on the right before getting back to the start-finish line to begin another lap. So talking about laps, the fastest lap in a race around this track was made by Bottas in 2019 and it was a 1:13.078. However, the fastest qualifying lap was set by Vettel in 2019 during Q3, and it was a 1:10.24. Schumacher and Hamilton are the most successful drivers in Canada with 7 wins each. So now let me tell you a few fun facts about this track. And first, I want to talk about rodents. Groundhogs are actually everywhere on that island, and it is not rare to see them on the track during the race weekend. Officials of the city usually trap as many as they can before the race weekend and they take them to a nearby island. However, they can never be sure that they take all of them out of the island, so it is not impossible to see them running on the track during the race. Next on my list is the Wall of Champions. You may have noticed that the wall at the exit of turn 13-14 chicane was renamed the Wall of Champions. The reason is that during the 1999 race, we saw 3 champions crash into that wall. It was Villeneuve, Gilles and Schumacher.
But look at this replay. Damon Hill comes out of turn 13, loses the jaunt. Schumacher turns in and loses it. Michael Schumacher slams into the wall. Jacques Villeneuve, I was talking about, has done exactly the same thing that Michael Schumacher did.
Another fun fact is about the 2007 race, and it's about the safety car. If you remember, 2007 was the year of Kubik's crash in Canada. It was a pretty impressive crash, and obviously a lot of people stopped and the safety car actually went to help take him out and extract him from the car. Because the safety car was actually on the side of the crash, it wasn't able to be on the track and they had to use a backup car to slow down the Formula Ones. That car was a Honda Civic.
At the moment then, under the second safety car condition here in Montreal,
And by the way, did you know that prior to 1997, it was up to the tracks to decide which car they would use for the safety car? This is how we saw a Lamborghini Countach used as the safety car in Monaco in 1982 and a Renault Clio in Argentina in 1996. The last fun fact that I have about this track is about Ralf and Michael Schumacher. They are the only brothers in Formula 1 to bring home a 1-2 finish, and it happened at the Canadian Grand Prix in 2001.
It's Formula 1's first sibling 1-2.
It was a great racing today. The whole time the two of us were together and was always waiting for him to do a mistake. Obviously he didn't.
Now onto a few memorable moments that happened at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. And the first one, unfortunately, is the tragic death of Riccardo Paletti in 1982. The Italian driver started 23rd on the grid. It was actually his second ever start in Formula 1. Didier Pironi, who was leading the pack, actually stalled on the grid before the start of the race. Most of the drivers realized it and were able to avoid him on the track, but unfortunately Paletti was arriving from far behind, didn't see what happened and crashed into the Ferrari. It was a severe impact, and despite everyone reacting really quickly, the car caught on fire and Paletti was trapped inside the cockpit. He was extracted from the car severely injured and passed from his injuries shortly after the crash. But now let's talk about the 1991 race. Mansell qualified P2, and early in the race he was able to take the lead and had a pretty great race, was leading towards the end of the race, and he was actually so confident that a lap prior the end of the race he started waving at the crowd.
So, of course, won here in 1986, he's waving to the crowd, he's going to win again.
Little did he know that his car would stop at the hairpin on the last lap after running out of fuel.
He's taking the hairpin very... He's stopping! Nigel Mansell, just a few hundred yards from the flag on the last lap. He's stopping, he's banging his steering wheel in frustration. Something has happened. It looks as though he's out of the race.
Now fast forward to 2007. I mentioned it earlier in this video. It was the horrendous Kubica crash. After clipping the back of the car in front, his car veered off to the right and he was launched into the air, ended up hitting the barrier and was just propelled against the track. It was a 186 miles per hour collision with the wall. Kubica was unconscious in the car after the crash, but he did not sustain any major injuries and he went back to racing only a few races later. He actually went on to taking his first and only victory in Formula 1 at the same venue the following year. We are now into 2011. The Canadian Grand Prix saw the longest race ever in Formula 1 with 4 hours and 4 minutes of race time. It was raining so heavy that they decided to start the race under the safety car. There were multiple incidents that day, including spins from Hamilton and Webber, and a collision between Alonso and Button. Despite coming back into the race dead last, Button worked his way up and passed his rivals one by one. He was second behind the race leader Vettel, who actually slipped wide during the very last lap of the race, giving Button the victory. Now I also have to mention 2014, which was Ricciardo's first ever win in Formula 1 after some incidents and safety cars gave him the advantage. Last year, obviously the Red Bulls were dominant over the rest of the field and Max Verstappen took the win. It was the 100th victory for Red Bull. This week, as I have been traveling, we'll skip the drive and talk and get straight into prediction time. Last race in Monaco was very special as we saw Charles Leclerc become the first ever F1 Monegasque driver to win at their home race. Piastri took P2 and Sainz brought back the second Ferrari in third. Despite many people rooting for Leclerc, no one predicted the final podium. For this week, I will give the win to Piastri, put Max in second and Norris in third. But I am really curious to hear your thoughts, so let me know your predictions in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, I really thank you for watching and I'll see you very soon.